여러분 안녕하십니까?
Good morning. Welcome to the last day special agenda session 2 of PyeongChang Peace Forum 2022. I am Park Se-jung. I will be leading you throughout the session. Pleased to meet you. This session is titled Analyzing the Success Potentials of the Gangwon 2024 Winter Youth Olympic Games based on the diagnosis on the Olympic Winter Games Beijing 2022. In 2020 in Rosanne, Gangwon Province successfully won the bid for Gangwon 2024, and we are halfway through until 2024. In order to have a successful hosting of Gangwon 2024, we will analyze the case of Winter Olympic Games in Beijing this year.
오늘 바쁘신 일정에도 불구하고
I would like to take this opportunity for your participation despite your busy schedules, and thank you to our online audience who have joined us from around the world.
자, 그럼
Let us now commence the special agenda session 2 of the PyeongChang Peace Forum 2022. This session will be moderated by announcer Inseok of KBS. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
예, 반갑습니다.
Pleased to meet you. I am Inseok of KBS.
강원도 강릉에서 태어난
I was born in Gangneung, and I have had many experience broadcasting sports events. And in just 2 years, we will be hosting an international youth event, Gangwon 2024 Winter Youth Olympic Games.
있었던 이제 평창 평화 포럼에 가장 마지막
Throughout the forum, we have discussed various issues, and this is the last plenary session. We don't have a long session, but we do hope that it will be a great opportunity for us to listen to the insights of our distinguished panelists, and we will also have a time to accept questions from the audience. I will sit as I proceed. So as we start the last plenary session, I will introduce our 3 participants on stage as well as our participant on the Zoom platform. We have with us President An Yongkyu of the Korea National Sports University on Zoom. To my left, we have with us athlete Seungmin, who is currently the president of the Korea Table Tennis Association and IOC athlete member. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
예, 그리고 꾸준히
We also have with us a gentleman who continues to work on the development of sports in Korea, in particular, the exchanges between the 2 Koreas, which will ultimately lead to unification through sports. We have with us Chairman Kyungsung. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
잠시 또 소중한 말씀.
We will be listening to your insights soon. And we have the beloved governor of Gangwon Province, Governor Moonsoon.
네, 그리고 좀 전에 말씀
And as I have mentioned before,
참석하지
joining us through the online platform, we have with us
자, 우리 한
President An Yongkyu of the Korea National Sports University. Pleased to meet you.
자, 총재님 지금
So could you test your microphone by saying hello to everyone here today?
예, 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다.
Good morning. Pleased to meet you. Due to COVID-19, I came in close contact with a confirmed case, so I was not able to participate in person. I apologize for that. Since we only have a short session, let us jump right into our discussion.
First of all, I would like to ask a question to Governor Choi, but before that, I'd like to mention that a lot of the participants were surprised to enjoy the performance by New York Philharmonic Orchestra here in PyeongChang. But as you may know,
기자가 생존해 계실 때
when the previous concertmaster was alive, it was about 14 years ago in February 2008, the New York Philharmonic Orchestra went to Pyongyang and they had a performance, and they also played the national anthem of the U.S. And they also performed Arirang. But as far as I know, it was Governor Choi Moonsoon who was actually playing a key role in making this concert possible. Yes, but as he already mentioned, Jeon Inseok was born in Gangwon province, and he has been a very successful sports caster. And I'd like to welcome you back to your hometown. So please give him a big round of applause.
뉴욕 필이 이제
Yes, as you mentioned, in February, it was actually February 26th of 2008. The New York Philharmonic Orchestra had a concert at the East Pyongyang Theater in Pyongyang, and this was actually a very successful event, and it made many headlines because in 2006, North Korea conducted a nuclear testing, but we pursued this event since then when there was a lot of tension on the Korean peninsula.
그때 이제 2차 실험이 끝나고
I remember that after the second nuclear testing, there was a lot of tension between the DPRK and the US. And there was a businessman called Gangwon who was living in Hong Kong, and he came up with this idea and made a proposal to the KBS and at that to NBC. Yes, at that time I was not governor, but I was the head of the NBC broadcasting station. Back then, the situations on the Korean peninsula were quite dangerous, and President Bush, the then U.S. president, called the DPRK an arch enemy and an act of evil because at that time the DPRK started building its nuclear weapons, and so there was a lot of tension. And there was someone called Kyungsung and Rorin Margel, a very renowned concert master from Israel. And he was at that time the conductor of the New York Philharmonic Orchestra.
북미 간의 관계가 뭐 지금보다
And as I said before, the relations between North Korea and the US were very bad. So it was almost unimaginable for an American orchestra to visit North Korea and offer a concert. So there was controversy over this idea. But we had some very strong supporters of this idea.
그 후에
And at that time, after this concert was performed, later President Bush commented on this
모르는 일
and said that he didn't know about this. It was rather a silent permission for the New York Orchestra to visit Pyongyang and perform.
미국적인 존재죠.
The New York Philharmonic Orchestra is a very American orchestra, but they went to Pyongyang and they performed the national anthem for the first time.
이후에 처음으로
And the US flag was there, and they also played a rearranged version of Arirang. It was also played by Michelle Kim a few days ago here in PyeongChang. And there were several Korean American performers, and they shed tears and they cried during the performance because it was very moving.
관계는 이제 끝났다. 이렇게까지
Back in 2008, the relations between the US and North Korea were really in a bad shape, but it was a big turning point. At that time, it was discussed that the North Korean orchestra would visit New York to offer a concert. Yes, that was what we discussed and that was what we agreed, but it didn't happen because
있는데 거기 가서 학생들을 직접
the New York Philharmonic Orchestra, after the concert, went to the College of Music in Pyongyang, and there was a mutual invitation. So it was supposed to be that the North Korean orchestra would go to New York. The New York Philharmonic Orchestra also performed in Seoul, and they offered an invitation to North Korea for a return visit to New York, but it didn't happen, unfortunately. And I hope to be able to arrange a special event when we will all go to Pyongyang once again. I hope that that will become a reality.
제전이 열릴
In 2 years, in 2024, we will have the Gangwon Youth Winter Olympic Games, and maybe we can invite the New York Philharmonic Orchestra in Gangwon province once again.
때군요.
That will be a great idea.
남지 않았습니다 이제.
We have only 2 years left before the 2024 Gangwon Youth Winter Olympic Games will be held. So how are you preparing for this?
저는 이 2024 청소년 동계올림픽을
Yes, as you said, the Gangwon 2024 Winter Olympic Games will be held very soon, and I believe this is a God-given opportunity. Why do you think so? It is because right after the PyeongChang Olympic Games, the inter-Korean relations were very good, but after the no deal from the Hanoi talk, the situations became worse. And I think we are rather traumatic about the whole experience for the past couple of years. But I think we need to overcome our trauma and reopen and re-pursue our inter-Korean relations. And I believe that this Gangwon Winter Youth Olympic Games will give an opportunity for North Korea to recognize the situation and come and talk with us. It is going to be held in Gangwon province, and we will be able to connect this with Wonsan, and Wonsan and other areas have been already developed in North Korea, and we believe that we can give North Korea a cause for them to open up their Wonsan area for the co-hosting. I believe that we need to really work hard to make this happen. Yes, inter-Korean co-hosting of the Gangwon Winter Youth Olympic Games will be really wonderful. But as you mentioned, the international relations, we need to consider that, and also international politics will play a role, and there will be some impact. What's the likelihood of co-hosting? Well, when we look at the overall situation, there is a lot of competition among the strong powers. And there's hegemonic competition.
시대가 끝나가고 있고
So we see that there is an end to an era of globalization. We're seeing this violence rising once again in Ukraine.
이제 우리에게도 굉장히 큰
So this may have some negative impact on our effort. But we remember that the 2018 PyeongChang Olympic Games was successfully held. It was almost something that we didn't imagine, but we made it happen. Yes. Nobody knew that in 2008, the New York Philharmonic Orchestra could perform in Pyongyang. Likewise, I hope that your plan will become a reality. So give him a big round of applause, please. Thank you very much. I understand you are feeling this heavy responsibility.
Next, we have on screen President An Yongkyu of the Korea National Sports University. Can you hear us well? Yes, we can. I can hear you well.
이 올림픽 아시안 게임 스포츠 제전이 열릴
Every time there is a sports event, athletes from the Korea National Sports University are doing very well. They did very well at the Beijing Olympics as well. Yes, every time there is an Olympic Games, during the Winter Olympics, about 33% to 40% of the medals, and for the Summer Olympics, and 70% of medals from the Winter Olympics is from the Korea National Sports University, including Hwang Dae-yeon's gold medal. He's a senior at our university. We have won 5 medals at the Beijing Olympics this time around. And so we have a total of 126 Olympic medals under our belt. Well, during the Beijing Olympics, is there a story that you would like to introduce? Well, Hwang Dae-yeon's story is very inspiring. Well, in the beginning, he was disqualified a few times, and when he was disqualified, everyone
전날
felt sorry for him. But you could see that he had a big smile on his face after he did his best and won an Olympic gold medal.
땄을 때 그 모습이
So when he won the gold medal,
기쁨을 줬죠. 그리고
it was a great joy to all Korean people. At our university, we were clapping and crying at the same time. When he came back home, what message did you give to Hwang Dae-yeon and other athletes from your university? I said thank you for enjoying the Olympics and doing their best to give joy to the people of Korea. And I gave them a big hug. So in just 2 years, we will be hosting the Gangwon 2024 Winter Youth Olympic Games.
그 말씀을 좀 해주시고
What advice do you have for Gangwon 2024?
그 대회 지금 홍보단장을
Well, I am in charge of PR for that event. And this event is being prepared
사실은
with all of the good intentions that we have. And by meeting our North Korean counterparts, we are in discussion,
북한에 있는
in particular with the Chosun University of Sports. We are hoping to sign an MOU, and I will also be working with Chairman Kyungsung on stage today to sign MOUs with our North Korean counterparts. And we look forward to inter-Korean exchanges of athletes. So athletes from our university and athletes from the Chosun Sports University of North Korea, we hope to see them play side by side at Gangwon 2024.
좋은 성과가 나는 활동을
And we look forward to all of your activities. And please join us until the very end. Thank you very much.
자, 지금 우리 안영규 총장님께서도
As you heard from President An,
여기도 혹시 저 중국
there were several athletes from this university who suffered from some issues regarding the reference decisions. And as Yoo Seungmin was there, I'm sure you felt a lot of emotions when such situations happened.
선수들이 뽑은 IOC 선수위원
And Yoo Seungmin was re-elected as vice chair of the athletes members of the IOC. So congratulations once again. So what is your role in this capacity?
위원회에 그 IOC 멤버십을 가진
We have 15 members, IOC members, and also there are 4 expert members. We have 19 in total in this committee, and the vice chair of this committee will deliver messages of athletes and voices of athletes to the IOC.
거의 실무를
And it is also my role to take care of the practical details of the operations of this committee. So there's a lot of work to do, and there's responsibility, heavy responsibility that I need to carry, but I'm learning a lot. Your term is 2 years. And then after the next Olympics, there will be a voting once again. So until the Paris Olympic Games, you need to serve in that position. Yes, I was elected during the Tokyo Olympic Games, and every 2 years, inside the committee, there will be election.
선출이 돼서
And I was re-elected. So until the Paris Olympic, I will serve as the vice chair.
유승민 IOC는 이제 브라질
Right. Starting from Rio Olympic Games, you served as a member of the IOC, and since Tokyo Olympics, you've been serving as vice chair of the athletes committee. And after 2 years, the Gangwon 2024 Winter Youth Olympic Games will be held, and I believe that sports and athletes will have to play a big role. Yes, that's true. During the Beijing Olympic Games, I was able to meet with a lot of officials and sports experts, and as Governor Choi mentioned, the Gangwon 2024 is indeed a God-given opportunity, and many sports officials and IOC members agree, because back in 2018, the PyeongChang Winter Olympic Games was a symbol of peace, and we were able to promote peace globally. And they have hopes and expectations for Gangwon 2024 because this is an international Olympic game for youth. And this is an opportunity for us to deliver the message of peace to the global audience. So there's huge expectation.
개최든 평화든 한 번에 이루어지는 게 아니기 때문에
We all know that peace cannot be achieved overnight, and co-hosting cannot be achieved overnight either. So we need to continue to work together, and if we work hard, I believe that there will be a good result. That's right.
우리 대한민국
I am happy that we have a Korean athlete leading the athletes committee, and as I mentioned, he's serving as vice chair of the athletes committee within the IOC.
좀더
So in that role, you may be able to do something about helping this Gangwon 2024. Well, after I got re-elected as vice chair, I was able to meet with a lot of different people, especially get the trust from the executive committee of the IOC.
이 IOC
And Gangwon 2024 will be held in Korea. And during my terms, these two major events were held in Gangwon province. So it is very special for me personally as well. We have good memories of the 2018 Olympic Games, and we have our successful experiences in our memory.
그런 경험을 통해서 잘 될 것.
Because we have these experiences,
기대감보다는
we get a lot of expectation from the sporting community, but I think we should not be complacent. We need to step up our effort and develop good plans. And the Youth Olympic Games are different from regular Winter Olympic Games because the Youth Olympic Games are focused on education as well. So there will be a lot of educational opportunities. And I once visited the table tennis games for youth, and it was all about promoting cooperation. So the Youth Olympic Games will go very well with the spirit of peace that we're promoting here in PyeongChang. Thank you.
제일 가운데 앉아 계신
And in the middle, we have with us Chairman Kyungsung of the South and North Korea Sports Exchange Association. I'm sure you visited the Beijing Winter Olympics.
이번 베이징 동계올림픽에서
And during the Beijing Winter Olympics, I have heard that Thomas Bach actually came to meet you.
그래요.
No, we went to meet him.
만나러 왔었던
예.
이제
Well, I think he came to meet the head of our delegation, and I went to meet Thomas Bach.
그 토마스 IOC 위원장과 만나고
So, as you were meeting with him,
어떤 말씀을 제일
what
궁금하네요.
kind of question did you ask, and what kind of answers did you receive? Well, at the Beijing Olympics,
개최지 도시 이제 대표로 간 거거든요. 강원도.
I participated as a representative of Gangwon 2024. Well, our governor should have participated, but I went on behalf of him because his schedule did not allow him to go to Beijing for such a long time. So I participated to represent Gangwon 24, and I had two missions that I had to do. First, I had to deliver the letter of our governor, and in that letter, it talks about support projects for Gangwon 2024. For example, inviting youth from about 50 countries without winter sports infrastructure so that they can be supported to train within South Korea, but spend a week in North Korea, in Masingyang in North Korea. And it's a Gangwon province project, but we wanted it to be supported and endorsed by the IOC. And along the same lines, we also wanted to ask the IOC to endorse Masingyang of North Korea as an official training site. And we wanted to ask the North Korean ambassador to endorse this as well. So we delivered a letter to the North Korean ambassador as well in China.
먼저
So I went first to Chairman Bach,
위원장이
and
위원장으로 선출되자마자
as soon as Chairman Bach was elected, the first Olympic that he hosted was the PyeongChang Winter Olympics. And the PyeongChang Winter Olympics became the most beautiful Olympics ever because we created a platform of peace between the two Koreas, and it became an Olympic heritage.
평화에 대한
And so Chairman Bach, he was very proud to have been the chairman of the IOC for that Olympics, and he had great memories of Governor Moonsoon.
올림픽 자신감이 생겼는데
And he was very confident about the Olympics. But after that, because of the COVID-19, Beijing Olympics and Tokyo Olympics was not held on a full grand scale. But since we have Gangwon 2024 coming up, Chairman Bach was grateful to Gangwon Province, and he had great memories of Gangwon Province. And he named himself as an ambassador of Gangwon Province. And so he not only approved the endorsement of the IOC for the Gangwon 24 support projects, but he also promised that he will make an effort so that Gangwon 2024 can be co-hosted by the two Koreas.
지사님이 이제 방금 전
And Governor CHOI talked about how Gangwon 2024 is God's gift.
베이징 올림픽이 끝났지만은
Well, the Beijing Olympic is over, and the next Olympic is Gangwon 2024 Winter Youth Olympic Games. It will start in January, so it's just about 2 years away. So the IOC will be focused on Gangwon 2024. And so we do believe that there is a possibility for co-hosting between the two Koreas because the support project will take place in both Gangwon provinces of the south and north. And so if this project is successful, then a co-hosting of the two Koreas is possible. And that's something that Chairman Bach recognizes as well. Chairman Bach realizes the attractiveness of Gangwon province because of the PyeongChang Winter Olympic memories. And he also has very high expectations of Gangwon 2024, and I'm sure that he will fully support us. So Governor CHOI talked about how it's a God's gift. In just 2 years, we will be hosting the Gangwon 2024 Winter Youth Olympic Games. And if we could have the two Koreas co-hosting Gangwon 2024, it will be very important. Chairman Kyungsung, you always worked on relieving tension between the two Koreas. And there is another roadblock that we need to overcome. Sports and culture achieves things that diplomacy cannot achieve.
정부가 할 수 있는
There are things that the government can do, but there are also stronger efforts that can be made by local governments.
이 민간 단체랑 스포츠
So the local governments can work with the private sector to have successful sports diplomacy, and the Olympics is the biggest event.
강력한 무기가
And so we have two big weapons, the Olympics and Olympic support projects for Gangwon 2024. And that's why Chairman Bach and the rest of the IOC agrees with this. And so during the Beijing Olympics, I met many IOC members with Mr. Liu here today.
주인으로서
And I went there as the representative of Gangwon 2024. And that's why I was in a position to be able to talk to the IOC. And I opened opportunities for endorsement. So how do the other IOC members feel? Well, we have the Olympic Club during the Olympic Games. And we have students from around the world here today. But chairmen of
IOC 위원장을 세우면
various governments and also organizations. But Bach uses the title president because IOC is like a country. It's one big country.
정치를 배제한다는
And so the IOC always excludes politics.
정치인들이 이런 데 참여하는 공간이 아닌 IOC
And so
공간이
there is the Olympic Club only available to the IOC. And every day the IOC members are there. And when you go to the Olympic Club, we have IOC members from around the world there, just like we have students from around the world here today. So if you go there, you can meet everyone.
거기 들어갈 수 있는 자격이
But only those who are members of the IOC and also those who are the host of the next Olympics can go there. So Gangwon 2024, the Milano Winter Olympics, and the Paris Summer Olympics. Only the host of those 3 Olympics can go to the Olympic Games. But no one was interested in the Milano Winter Games or the Paris Summer Games because everyone is just interested in Gangwon 2024. Is it because we are a separated nation? No, this is because of the great memories of PyeongChang and because of the support projects we have prepared for Gangwon 2024. We had great response to the support projects. The person in charge of finance of IOC, he operates the Olympic Academy. The Olympic Academy invites youth from around the world to foster them as athletes. That is the Olympic Academy project. The support project that Gangwon province has prepared for Gangwon 2024 is very similar to the Gangwon Academy. So we are doing something that the IOC should be doing, and so they're very grateful to see this. And so he was very happy to see that we were doing this support project. And so in May, about 20 IOC members will be visiting Gangwon province to talk about the support projects, and they will be meeting our governor, and we will be opening seminars to test out the success of the support projects. And Mr. Liu played a large role in this process. There are 54 NOCs from Africa, and they only have 1 to 2 winter sports that they can play, and so they are not able to participate in the Winter Olympic Games. Mr. Mustafa Barros, who is an IOC member from Africa, he said, don't deal with individual NOCs of Africa, but deal with the group of NOCs. And so there will be a meeting in Egypt bringing together all of the African NOCs. And he invited Governor Moon to join that seminar in Egypt to explain the project. And he said we will be able to meet all 54 African NOCs. And so in March, we will be going to Egypt to propose the support projects and sign an MOU. And so they gave us an opportunity to speak before this assembly, and that is because of Gangwon 2024 and the support projects that we are preparing. Well, Governor Moon talked about how it's God's gift. There are many North Korean laborers working in Africa, and so Africa and North Korea are very close. Diplomacy is meeting where we can. If we cannot meet directly between the 2 Koreas, for example, we would go to China to do exchanges, but now we can go to Africa to do exchanges between the 2 Koreas. We could invite North Korea to Africa, or Africa can invite North Korea and South Korea. And so that would open a higher possibility for co-hosting. So the North and South meeting directly is very difficult because of denuclearization issues and sanctions. And so it's difficult to meet directly. But through sports diplomacy, we can open new doors. And that really is possible thanks to the Olympics and the support projects that we have prepared. As we are listening to Chairman Kyungsung, I can see that for the Summer Olympics, athletes from around the world participate, but because of the weather conditions, it's very difficult for the African athletes to come to the Winter Olympics.
So in 2024, we will have the Gangwon Youth Olympic Games. hopefully to be co-hosted by the two Koreas, and we will have to work hard to achieve this. But as Chairman Kim mentioned, it will be very meaningful to invite athletes from African countries so that they can compete for Winter Games. That's very true. The Winter Olympic Games are rather different from the Summer Olympic Games because the winter sports have been dominated by wealthier European countries. So the spirit of the sport has not been spread evenly across the globe. And it is very meaningful that we're holding the Gangwon 2024 as the first Asian country to host the Youth Olympic Winter Games. And we wish to engage as many countries as possible, including Southeast Asian countries where they don't have the winter sports infrastructure, because we want to continue to spread the spirit of the Olympic Games. And I am very proud that Gangwon has been doing that. In May, IOC officials from the African continent will visit Gangwon, and I hope that Governor Choi will provide more support for this. Yes, thank you very much. I'd like to ask a question to President Yu.
So you are in charge of PR for Gangwon 2024, and as we have just mentioned, I think you should also work to invite as many athletes from around the world as possible. Yes, of course, I will be supporting this. I continue to discuss this with Governor Choi and also Chairman Kim. And I look forward to the support of President Seungmin. At our university, we have 1,000 athletes in our dorm, and they are Series A athletes. So if North Korean athletes would come to South Korea, then we would be able to provide the support for training. At our university, we have 29 sports that we have, and there are also 20 additional sports that we teach. And so we cover many of the Winter Olympics games and sports. And we also have an ice rink. So we will be able to provide the environment for accommodations and training. And we have skiing or other snow sports, and I believe that we have sufficient infrastructure in Gangwon province. And so we can go back and forth with our university, but nevertheless, we will do whatever we can to support your projects. Yes, we will go back to Mr. Liu.
We only have 2 years left before 2024, and if we want to invite athletes, especially these young athletes from Africa and Asia, if we provide support for them for training, do you think they can compete in the Gangwon 2024 games? We have some students in the audience. I believe that we already have a very good legacy from the 2018 PyeongChang Olympic Games. By using the Olympics, we can create many good legacies. And one of them is nurturing and training athletes from countries that do not have the winter sports infrastructure. We already have the dream programs and the support programs already up and running. There are many students who are not familiar with winter sports, and it is our goal to continue to train them so that they can compete internationally. Of course, it takes time and effort, but you don't have to be a world-class athlete to participate in the Youth Olympic Games. It is all about having passion and participate and compete fairly in these games. So I believe that is the whole point of doing this. There were 92 countries participating in the PyeongChang Winter Olympic Games, but for the Summer Olympic Games, it is actually 207 countries. So the number of countries for the Winter Olympic Games is only half of that for the Summer Olympic Games. But I hope that Gangwon Province and the PyeongChang will continue to work hard to increase the number of countries that are able to participate in the Winter Olympic Games, and so this way we can spread the spirit of sport.
유일한 분단 국가로서 어떤 그런 모델 역할을
And in addition, the Korean Peninsula is the only divided nation, with the Gangwon province being the only divided province. And we want to continue to show to the world that we're working hard to promote peace here on this divided peninsula. And if we continue to deliver this message, I believe that we can spread this message around the world and bring about positive change. Especially for this Gangwon 2024,
관심이 떨어지
compared to the regular Olympic Games, attention or interest may be a little lower, but I really hope that more and more people will be interested in and will be supporting this Gangwon 2024 so that this can become a successful event where we can continue to treasure and uphold the spirit and the legacy of the PyeongChang 2018 Games. Yes, as you mentioned, there are many countries that are not familiar with winter sports, and I hope that, Mr. Yu, you will continue to play your part in your capacity. Thank you.
평창 평화 포럼
So this is the last session of the PyeongChang Peace Forum. This is special agenda session 2. We only have about 15 minutes left.
하신 내용들이
And I'm sure that you also have questions. If you have any questions for the four gentlemen on stage, please raise your hand and wait for a microphone.
아직 손을 안 드시나요? 예. 그러면은 예, 손 드실
Yes, we have someone from the back who is asking for a microphone.
질문하시겠습니까?
To whom will you be addressing your question?
All of you.
아 예. 잠깐만요. 저희들도 영어로 하실 건가요?
Will you be speaking in English? I can speak in Korean.
그 아프리카 아니면 아시아 우리나라 같은
For African and Asian countries,
청소년들이
how can the youth
또 이런 스포츠에 참석할 수 있어?
participate in sports from an early age?
강원도 2024
We are preparing for Gangwon 2024. It's just 2 years away,
어렸을 때부터 이건
but
그렇죠.
the youth in Africa and Asia do not have opportunities to play these sports at a young age, and there are no programs to support young children. And so, what do you think about this? Where are you from? Can you tell us? I'm from India.
예. 자, 김경성 의원님께서 예,
Maybe Chairman Kim,
프로그램이 없다는 말씀.
could you answer this? So there's no winter program. Well, the program that we are supporting is not
훈련을 갖다 우리
just to provide training for Winter Olympic sports,
국가체육위원회
but there are NOCs of each country, and through the chairman of the NOC,
그러면 NOC 위원장이 그
we will be working with that country, and the head of the NOC, for example, in India,
NOC에서
will
2024년이면 이제
name 1 or 2 sports
16세 정도의 나이의 선수를
for athletes that are 16 years old so that they will be 18 in 2024. And so each NOC will recommend athletes with potential, and we will be providing training, equipment, and leaders for these athletes so that they can participate in Gangwon 2024 Winter Youth Olympic Games. And we hope that it will become a game with the largest number of countries participating. So that may not mean that they could win a medal in 2024, but we can look forward to the Milano Olympic Winter Games and beyond. So this is not support for general public, but for specific sports and specific athletes, we will be providing customized programs. Let me try to add to that. For India, currently, Korea National Sports University has a counterpart. So I understand that India is preparing to establish a university that's quite similar to the Korea National Sports University. The Taiwanese National Sports University was established in the 1980s, and they actually benchmarked our university. And so India is benchmarking our university to establish their national sports university. And the founder is a very active person. The person who asked the question, well, I would like to mention that India is making preparations and an MOU has been signed. And when such a university is established, then there could be ODA projects or other programs that can be operated, perhaps in collaboration with Korea's Ministry of Sports, Tourism, and Culture. And so I believe that our university could play a role as well. And we have Mr. Seungmin here with us, and so we will make an effort together to expand programs. And as I mentioned before, Mr. Seung, who is in charge of finance in IOC, and President Thomas Bach, they are also fully supporting our country, and they received an honorary doctorate degree at our university. And so we will work together, and I will do my part to promote various events. Thank you very much. Maybe we can go to Mr. Liu. Well, first of all, India will be hosting the IOC General Assembly next year. Congratulations. And I think you're talking about winter sports because India is a country that is being provided with a lot of support for summer Olympic Games. And you also have IOC members in your own countries. But for the Winter Olympic Games, as you mentioned, it takes a long time to train for these sports. And so we are well aware of this. And so Gangwon Province and the PyeongChang 2018 Legacy Foundation are creating these projects not to have results overnight, but all to make sure that there is sustainable projects that can be long-term. And the youth that participate in these projects, when they go back to their own countries, they can become professionals for that particular sport. That could actually impact other young people to become interested in that sport. And so if you pay attention to a lot of the projects that are ongoing, I believe that we could have great results in the future. So we had a question from India. But because the Winter Olympic Games cannot be played in countries without winter sports infrastructure, Gangwon Province, PyeongChang 2018 Legacy Foundation, IOC, the Korea National Sports University are just some of the organizations that are preparing to collaborate. We will now open the floor for the second question.
안녕하세요.
Hello, I would like to ask a question to Governor Choi.
대표적인 선거가
This year, we have two major elections,
각 후보마다
and we have these presidential candidates. They are proposing different North Korean policies, and Governor Choi, you are pushing forward with the co-hosting, but I believe that this may be impacted by the result of the presidential election. And also, the local government election is upcoming in June. So when you get a new governor in Gangwon Province, do you think this idea will be continued? I believe that you asked a very practical and very important question because that is also my concern. When you think about peace between the two Koreas, it is very much impacted and influenced by the leaders of the two Koreas as well as the U.S. president. But there has been rather a lack of harmony or coordination among the concerned parties. But all we can do is to continue to make effort. I believe that the prospect is not very bright, but still, nevertheless, we need to continue to work hard to achieve our goal. Especially, I hope that the young people will continue to go in this direction. And as a member of the older generation, I feel really sorry, and I feel even guilty that we may not have done our job in creating a better future for them. But I like to ask our youth to continue to play this part. Yes, as you mentioned, we need to see what the presidential election will be and what the outcome will be, but we cannot make any predictions right now here. So I understand that it may not be easy to answer this question from the governor's perspective, but he successfully completed his 3 terms, so he is not able to run for the governor. But what do you think you're planning to do after that? I will do my best for the remaining of my term. Thank you very much.
Towards the middle, a microphone, please.
네, 안녕하세요. 이번에 드림
Good morning. I am participating in the DREAM program. My name is Kim Yeonu. Thank you very much for your panel discussion. I have a question to Mr. Seungmin.
베이징 직접 참여
I understand you participated in the Beijing Winter Olympics, and there were some diplomatic boycotts that were ongoing. If we co-host the Gangwon 2024, do you believe that there are any possibilities of diplomatic boycotts for Gangwon 2024? And if there are diplomatic boycotts, do you have any
가장 중요한
responses that you have prepared? Well, the most important stakeholders of the Olympic Games are the athletes and the coaches. Of course, heads of states and ambassadors visiting the Olympics would be great for raising the prestige of the nation and also the games themselves. But I'm not a politician, so what I can say is that although there were the diplomatic boycotts in Beijing, it did not impact the athletes at all. It did not impact the dreams of the athletes. It did not impact the games inspiring people around the world who are suffering from COVID-19. If there were diplomatic boycotts that were happened to Gangwon 2024, it's really up to the political leaders. What we need to focus on is to provide a safe environment for the athletes. And if we think back to 2018, there was a lot of issues related to the North Korean risk, and many countries talked about whether they want to participate or not. But the political leaders had no choice but to recognize the dreams and aspirations of the athletes. And so we actually had a very peaceful event that was hosted. Of course, there will be a lot of issues along the way to Gangwon 2024, but I believe that it cannot stop the inspiration and aspiration of the athletes to create a global festival of sports. Well, Chairman Kyungsung, you checked the quarantine system for Tokyo last year, and you also experienced the system of Beijing this year. So if COVID-19 were to continue until 2024, we will need to focus on quarantine issues. Could you share with us what you hope to prepare for 2024 based on your experience in Beijing? Well, in Tokyo and in Beijing, I did not go to Tokyo myself, but I experienced Beijing for myself. So if you go outside of the hotel, you have to take a car, and all of the hotels are fenced off, and all of the areas are fenced off for the Olympics. So it's like the DMZ. The citizens cannot come in, we cannot go out. And if you were to go to another hotel, for example, Mr. Liu and I stayed at a different hotel, and if I were to meet Mr. Liu, it's a short distance, but I would have to wait for a car to take me there because only dedicated cars can go back and forth. And so it does make things difficult. And and citizens cannot participate in the Olympics.
2024는 이제
And so,
그때까지는 뭐 코로나
we don't believe that COVID-19 will continue to 2024. I think everyone agrees with that. And IOC members are very much looking forward to 2024 because they believe that it could be a true festival like 2018. Well, if we have COVID-19 until 2024, that would be quite horrible. Let's accept the next question.
예정된 시간은 30분까지.
We have about 5 minutes left.
예. 손을 저
Anyone? Okay, there's someone in the back who has raised the question.
I'd like to ask my question in English. Is that okay?
예. 영어로 질문.
Yes, please go ahead. Yes, you can ask questions in English. And please use simultaneous interpretation. Please wait a second. Let me wear the receiver.
볼륨을 조금 높이시면 도움이 될 겁니다.
Okay, thank you.
예. 들을 준비 되셨지요?
You ready?
Can I?
예. 질문해 주시죠.
So you were talking about taking these young people from countries that don't get to experience winter sports and giving them training for what I guess it would be like 2 years of training until the Youth Olympics. You also said that it is important to make them feel interested in those sports and maybe prepare them from further Olympic Games, but when they come back to their countries after this Olympics, they will still not be able to practice that sport because since the beginning they weren't able to do that. So I would like to ask, not even thinking about 2024, but furthermore, what is the plan for those young people to still be able to do what they learn or keep on doing the Olympic sports? Yeah. Thank you.
예. Excuse me, where you come from?
I'm from Spain.
예, 알겠습니다.
Thank you. Right. As she mentioned, you're envisioning a 2-year-long support program, but she wishes that there will be a continuous support so that these athletes can continue to train and compete. Yes, I understand your concern and I understand your question, but as you may know, we have had a similar program for 2018 Games. It is called the DREAM program. It is already ongoing for more than 10 years. And thousands of athletes or thousands of young people participated in the program. And I remember it was rather Singapore or Hong Kong where the Dream Plus participant was able to win a medal in the Olympic Games. So of course, for 2024, our target timeline is 2 years, but I like to promise that we will continue afterwards. And maybe President An of Korea National Sports University, you are running a program that is a long-term program, right? Yes, that's correct.
한 1년
Right. My term is, I only have 1 year left before my term is over, but I believe that our university will continue to maintain such support programs because it is in line with the spirit and the vision of our university. So even though I will no longer serve as president, I believe that our university will continue to support these athletes. Thank you very much.
We are almost out of time, but we will accept one last question from the floor. Please wait for a microphone.
예.
Hello, can I also ask a question in English?
예.
Okay. Is everyone ready?
예, 질문하세요.
Okay. I'm one of the athletes as part of the New Horizons program. I represent Vietnam, and I think New Horizons has Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia. And I was wondering, with programs like ours bringing athletes from a lot of different countries, what's kind of the plan for the extent of how many athletes are going to be invited to the programs you're setting up to help these athletes train in sports that they've never been able to try in their home countries?
예. 어느 정도의 인원이
So this is a question about how many athletes will have an opportunity to participate. Maybe Governor Choi can answer. Well, for New Horizon, This is an ongoing program, and I look forward to you winning a medal next time around. So the new program that we are planning is a program that we will start in April or May. So we have the budget, but nothing else that is firm. We do have the working level staff here today, but concerning the details, the decisions have not been made yet. So the budget has been decided, but we have not decided on how to use that budget in detail. We have a 6 billion won budget, but now we have to decide on the details of how to operate the program. So as soon as we have the details, we will be sharing the details with countries around the world and informing you. So it seems that athletes from Africa or Southeast Asia, where there is no Winter Olympic sports infrastructure, they're very interested in these sports nevertheless. Yes, that is very true. Thank you very much for your participation. Well, at our foundation, we have a very good evaluation of the New Horizon program. And the athletes that are participating in New Horizon are limited right now because of COVID-19. But this is a program that we are investing for the future. And so we will continue to expand our program in the future. I cannot give you a fixed number of athletes, but we will try to include as many athletes as possible to provide the best environment that we can. And Governor CHOI is also an active supporter of our program. So we look forward to your interest, and that will mean that more athletes will be able to participate in the future. Thank you very much. Well, that brings us to the end of the session, but we will accept just one more question from the floor, although we are out of time.
There's someone in the middle.
예, 이제 마지막 질문입니다.
This is going to be the last question.
자, 질문해 주시죠.
Please go ahead.
Hello. I'm a Dream Program participant this year, so I'll be asking the question in English. Is that fine? Yeah. So my question is, I understand the role of what the government is planning and what do you expect students or foreigners to play in the success of 2024 Winter Olympic Games?
예. 학생들의 역할.
So what will be the role of the students for the success of Gangwon 2024? So who may answer this question? Chairman Kim?
저희가 이제 지원 사업
We are preparing for a support program for multiple countries. Our target is 50 countries.
남강원도와 북강원도
And we hope to be able to utilize South Gangwon Province and North Gangwon Province for training opportunities. So what we proposed to North Korea was that these foreign athletes will go to Masikryong Resort, and some South Korean students will go to Masikryong together with the foreign students for the program. And it is relatively easy for North Korea to accept such a proposal because the Masikryong ski resort has been completed and they wish to attract as many visitors as possible to the Masikryong resort. And there is some vague fear and concern about North Korea among South Korean students. But if they have a chance to visit Masikryong ski resort, they will be able to see for themselves what is the situation in North Korea. And this will bring about positive result for inter-Korean relations. So we believe that student participation is very important. In October 2018,
춘천에서 경기를 할
the young students, athletes from North Korea came to Gangwon province and they competed together. And about 20,000 South Korean students joined in these games and cheered for them. And they also had a chance to talk to North Korean students. Likewise, I hope that more and more students, not only for those foreign students, but also South Korean students to participate in the support program. I wish to entertain more questions from the floor, but we went over time by 5 minutes, and it is time to wrap up the session. The Beijing Winter Olympic Games were finished very recently, and it was a successful event despite many challenges. And there was a lot of applause for the success of the Beijing Olympic Games, but we still remember how successful it was for us to host the PyeongChang Winter Olympic Games in 2018. And many people around the world were able to witness what we could achieve in PyeongChang in 2018 on this divided Korean peninsula. And I hope that all of us will work together for the success of the 2024 Gangwon Winter Youth Olympic Games. In this regard, I'd like to express my thanks to President Yongkyu, as well as Chairman Kim, Governor CHOI, and Mr. Yu for their contribution. Thank you very much.